Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. I hope all of you are doing well. In this video, we are going to look at the important chapter of the President of India. It also includes his powers, his or her powers, and also the Vice President of India. It's an important chapter, and it kind of is the first part of the executive. We also will be doing the Prime Minister and the President together form the executive. We've already gone through Parliament. So the correlation between the Prime Minister, the President's office and Parliament is what constitutes the real power structure, as it were, of our country. And I believe as young citizens of this country who would be voting in another 2-3 years from now, you should be aware of how the entire power structure, how governance really happens. और ये तभी possible hoga when you understand the different powers and functions of the different offices which are enshrined in the Constitution of India. Okay, so let's get started with the President of India chapter. Okay, so now let's start with the President chapter, Civics with SWS, and my request to all students, all members of this History Civics course is that if you have any friends who would think that they need help with History Civics, please suggest them the History Civics course on SWS. Let the SWS community grow. Let's get started. Now, the obvious question is, who is the president? Ye president kaun hai? The president is the formal head of the country. Now, that's how the Constitution also describes him. He's the head of the state. He's the constitutional head. All these terms are used for the president, and this can come as MCQs now. Okay, as a 1-mark question. He has nominal powers. In fact, I have written it down in the notes, but I would like to read it out to you. What the Rajya Sabha website has to say about the President of India. Under the Constitution of India, the head of the executive is the president. Under the Constitution of India being the operative word. Yani ki Constitution of India is tarah se describe karta hai. The real powers are with the Prime Minister, as we have seen in the Prime Minister chapter. But under the Constitution of India, the head of the executive is the president. All the orders are issued in the name of the president. For instance, if an ambassador is to be appointed to XYZ country, the order will be issued in the name of the President of India. Okay. All the executive power is vested in him. Vested in him matlab unke tehet hai, unke andar hai. Okay. And all executive decisions and actions, as I said, are taken in the president's name. The president is, however, only a constitutional head of state. जैसे मैंने यहाँ पर लिखा है, right? Acting on the aid and advice of the Prime Minister, of the Council of Ministers, headed by the Prime Minister, and therefore he is only the formal executive. Okay, the real or the political executive is the Council of Ministers, headed by the Prime Minister. Okay, this is what the website says. So the president enjoys nominal powers. Now, इसके आगे देखा जाए तो the President of India, we have the photographs of the past president and the present president. The Council of Ministers aids and advises the President of India. The President holds office for a period of 5 years, and only Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the only president who held the post of president, the position of president, for 2 terms. Okay, Baki sabhi presidents starting from S. Radhakrishnan to Ramnath Kovind have all held the office of president only for 1 term. Okay, कोई भी 2 बारी elect नहीं हुआ है. Okay, so that is as far as the role of the president is concerned. Now, what are the qualifications of the President of India that you need? One, of course, obviously, citizen of India. He has to be or she has to be at least 35 years of age. Third qualification par dhyan dijiye. He or she should be qualified for election as a member of the Lok Sabha. What does it mean? That they should have the qualifications that they should be able to get elected as a member of the Lok Sabha from any constituency in India. They should not hold any office of profit. Now, office of profit kya hai? Office of profit essentially refers to a post under the central government, Government of India, or any of the state governments in the country, which gives salaries or any kind of perks or any other kind of benefits. For instance, अगर मैं एक government servant हूं जो कि government of Jharkhand के अंदर काम कर रहा है, say in the irrigation department in the government of Jharkhand, and मेरे को तनख्वाह मिल रही है, गाड़ी मिल रही है, एक rent accommodation भी मिल रहा है, then that will be seen as an office of profit, and that will be a disqualification for if I want to contest for the election of the President of India. Okay. He should not be a proclaimed offender or a sentenced criminal. यानी कि criminals background या criminal sentence ऐसा ना हो कि jail sentence हुआ हो या jail में हो, those kind of thing. Someone in Tihar jail cannot contest for the post of the President of India. Okay, you wouldn't want that kind of a President of India, right? Then let's come to the Electoral College. Electoral College क्या होता है? Electoral College is the entire body which elects a particular person. Here we are talking about the Electoral College of the President of India. So it includes elected members of Lok Sabha, it includes elected members of Rajya Sabha. Yani ki 543 members of the Lok Sabha right now, I mean it can go up to 550, and 250 members, 238 members of the Rajya Sabha. Why? Only elected members, which means, and this can be a 1-mark MCQ question, 12 nominated Rajya Sabha MPs do not vote in the election to the President of India. For instance, Sachin Tendulkar was a nominated MP. P.T. Usha is now a nominated MP. Ilayaraja from Tamil Nadu is a nominated MP. They cannot vote in the presidential election. Okay, but interestingly, they can vote in the impeachment of the President of India. It's a very strange thing about the Constitution, but that's a fact. Is baat ko please yaad rakhiye. It also includes the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the country. Okay, the Assembly of Tamil Nadu, the Assembly of Bihar, the Assembly of Himachal Pradesh, all the MLAs will be able to, elected MLAs will be able to vote in the presidential election. The presidential candidate, anyone who wants to contest as a president, for instance, Draupadi Murmu or Yashwant Sinha, they were proposed by 50 members of this electoral college. It could include MPs as well as MLAs. दोनों को 50 होने चाहिए. Then seconded, मतलब कि मैं इनके नाम का प्रस्ताव रखता हूं. Then the other person will second that. So total support you need to have of 100 MPs and MLAs together. Okay, and the election is by secret ballot. Okay, I hope it is clear. Okay, then they have to file a deposit a security of 15,000 rupees. Okay, and the money is not returned if the candidate fails to get even 1/6 of the total votes polled. Yani ki agar say 120 votes are polled, you should get at least 20 votes. Otherwise, tumhare 15,000 rupees gaye. It's not a great amount for any politician, frankly. Now let's come to the value of a vote, and this is interesting. And I have been saying that you should follow the presidential election also. Now, the value of a vote, every MP has a particular value, or the MP's value is not dependent on which state they come from. So the value of an MP from Uttar Pradesh is equal to the value of an MP from Karnataka or from Kerala or from Goa. Okay, so the value doesn't change. What is the value? In 2022, it was 700. Okay, 700 is the kind of value they put. Okay. The value of an MLA's vote, however, differs from state to state. Okay, so for instance, an MLA from Uttar Pradesh, which is the largest state, the most populated state, उनके value, vote का value है 208. Okay, Tamil Nadu का है 176. Okay, Manipur का है is only 18 because it's a small assembly, smaller state. Chhattisgarh, for instance, is 129. So every state, MLA's value of the vote, and so MLA's value, for instance, 176 in Tamil Nadu, 176 multiplied by 234 MLAs in Tamil Nadu. So every state का जितने MLAs हैं, जितना value है, उसको multiply करके the total electoral college is made, which is over 10 lakhs. Okay, so you need to get at least the halfway mark in order to be elected as the president of the country. Okay, so that is as far as the presidential election is concerned. I hope it is clear. Any doubts, please ask. But this is a very simple kind of process. हर vote का एक value होता है. Okay. Now, the election is held by single transferable vote, and this I want you to listen carefully. Last year, I remember a lot of students had a lot of doubts. Single transferable vote means is an electoral system of proportional representation. This phrase yaad rakhiye. Which means that a person's vote is transferred to the second or the third candidate if the first preference person is failing to gets eliminated. Okay, so if there are 3 candidates, you need to give your preference. Mera first preference is A, second preference is B, third preference is C. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, there is an election. Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, and Vidya Balan are the three candidates. Okay, now in the first, when you first start doing the counting, you realize that Amitabh Bachchan has got the least number of votes, which should not happen, but let's assume. Okay, hypothetically, Amitabh Bachchan has got the least number of votes. So he gets eliminated. So whoever has given Amitabh Bachchan as the first choice, but Shah Rukh Khan as the second choice, so all the votes get transferred to Shah Rukh Khan. Understood? So all the votes get transferred to Shah Rukh Khan. Some people may have given Vidya Balan as their second preference. So those votes will get transferred to Vidya Balan. So then usme counting hoke, then whoever becomes the winner is the actual decide. Suppose char hue, so then they will do a second elimination. Suppose Shah Rukh Khan gets eliminated, then जिसने भी Vidya Balan या fourth choice को दिया होगा, let's say Ranveer Singh. So between Vidya Balan and Ranveer Singh, that election will take place. किसके कितने वोट किसको ट्रांसफर हुए as the third choice. Okay, so that's how this single transferable vote gets transferred. Who conducts the election to the President of India? The Election Commission of India. Please remember, and always there is a returning officer is appointed. It alternates between the Lok Sabha Secretary General and the Rajya Sabha Secretary General. 2022 में it was the turn of the Rajya Sabha Secretary General who settles the dispute over. अगर कोई dispute हो, court कौन सा होगा? Supreme Court will settle the dispute. Okay. Now let's come to the very important part about the reason for indirect election to the President of India. ऐसा क्यों है कि indirect election conduct किया जाता है, directly क्यों नहीं किया जाता? Prime Minister का directly होता है. In a way, you elect the MPs directly, MPs elect the Prime Minister, right? The ruling party, whichever comes to power. The reason is that if elected directly, if you and I, you तो नहीं, आपका तो vote नहीं है, but I and your parents are the ones who directly elect the president, like the way it happens in the USA, it can create imbalance of power. What is imbalance of power? Because the Prime Minister is also elected directly by the people. All said and done, he's elected directly by the constituency people, right? Of say, Narendra Modi is elected by the people of Lok Sabha constituency of Varanasi. So already he's elected directly by the people. If the president also gets directly elected, so it will be like two rival power centers. Okay. The Constitution of India makers did not want that, and they felt that this would be against the parliamentary system. And they were in a sense copying the British system where the Queen is the monarch. वो तो, you know, यहाँ की तरह president की तरह election नहीं होता. That flows from queen to son to prince to king to queen, that kind of thing. But she's not elected. So she's only a constitutional head, while the Prime Minister of Britain is elected directly by the people. So here also they wanted a similar system, but since we do not have a monarchy, thank God for that, we have the presidential system of electing a president indirectly. And Jawaharlal Nehru at that time said that we could not have a directly elected. ऐसा ना हो कि कि you have a directly elected president and don't give him powers. Powers Prime Minister के पास हो, फिर इनको directly elect करने का फायदा क्या हुआ? तो इसीलिए president को directly elect नहीं किया जाता. I hope the first point is clear. More representative electoral college. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? Because MLAs of different states take part, right? So it's not just the MPs you're electing. So it could be that, one party, let's say the BJP has a brute majority in parliament, but in many states they may not be in power. So you will get other states also expressing themselves through the choice of their candidate as president, right? So it means that the president becomes a true representative of the country. So it's a more representative electoral college, MLAs from all over the country, MPs from all over the country. So it's a very representative kind of, and they're all elected by the people, not nominated. So elected by the people, so that makes it a very representative electoral college. He represents states of the union, जो मैंने अभी point बताया, MLAs from different states are elected. So that becomes very important. If it was only the MPs, then the whole thing will be dominated by the ruling party at the center. But now you're getting a more representation from different states of the country. It involves the people of India indirectly. How? Because the MPs and MLAs are also elected by us, right? So indirectly, the people of India get involved in the election of the President of India. And because it doesn't have that kind of a Lok Sabha election kind of a thing, saves time, jaldi ho jata hai, saves a lot of money that would be otherwise spent on a direct election. And this is a unique way to elect the head of the country without involving the general population, yet involving them indirectly. You're not directly involving the population of the country, but you're indirectly involving them. समझ में आ गया? Let's move forward. Last के 2 points पहले पढ़िए. The oath of office to the President of India is given by the Chief Justice of India. In case the Chief Justice is not there, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court of India. The salary of the President is 5 lakh rupees per month. Apart from that, of course, accommodation at Rashtrapati Bhavan, which is one of the largest presidential palaces in the country, benefits, pension is 2.5 lakh rupees. ये 2018 में increase हुआ था, 5 लाख किया था, पहले 1.5 लाख था. Okay. Now, what are the circumstances when the presidential post can become empty, can go vacant? That can happen in case of death of a president in office. Like, for instance, President Zakir Hussain died when he was president, right? So in that case, the vice president takes over temporarily. Okay, मैं उसके बारे में भी interesting factors बताता हूँ. Okay, or if the president resigns, right, that can also happen. Okay, 2 presidents in India have died in office, Zakir Hussain and Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed. Okay, in 1960s and 1970s. Resignation, and the new president must then be elected within 6 months, or if the president is impeached, that has also never happened in the country. Okay, impeachment के बारे में next we will talk about what is impeachment. ये factoids हैं, मैंने ndtv.com से निकाले. There have been 14 presidents since India became a republic in 1950. 15th is Draupadi Murmu. 2 presidents have died in office. I just now mentioned Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, and before him Zakir Hussain. Rajendra Prasad was the only president to have been elected twice. Mohammad Hidayatullah के बारे में मैं बिल्कुल last में बताऊंगा. Very interesting fact. Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy won the presidential election unopposed. 6 vice presidents went on to become president. People like Shankar Dayal Sharma, R. Venkatraman, etc. were vice presidents. Radhakrishnan, S. Radhakrishnan, before they became the president of India. ऐसे काफी सारे facts हैं which you can go through. Okay. Now, what is the impeachment of the president? Now, impeachment का मतलब क्या है? पहले तो ये समझ लो. Okay. Impeachment का मतलब ये है when the legislative body, in this case parliament, initiates charges of misconduct against a public official. When the legislative body initiates charges of misconduct against a public official. Okay, that is the definition of impeachment. अगर definition पूछे तो ये लिखना. Okay, लेकिन आपसे पूछा जाएगा how is the president impeached? Okay, now who can level charges of impeachment? Both the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. कोई भी वहां पे कर सकता है. You need to then give, when MPs move a resolution, you need to give at least 14 days notice. 14 days notice in writing, and has to be signed by not less than 1/4 of the total number of members of the house. For instance, अगर राज्यसभा में कर रहे हैं, so 250 का 1/4 कितना हुआ? Around 62, 63. So at least 63 members have to sign, and only then a resolution. ऐसा नहीं कि इक्का दुक्का करे तो impeachment हो जाएगा. No, at least 63 members of a particular house have to of Rajya Sabha or 1/4 of either strength of the house have to move the notice, has to sign the notice, and only then, and 14 days notice has to be given, and only then such a resolution can be moved. Resolution move करने के बाद क्या होगा? It has to be passed by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the majority of the total membership of the house. Okay, 2/3 majority. तो इतना आसान नहीं है. उसके बाद the president has the right to appear before the investigation, because the other house will investigate the charge. अगर राज्यसभा में move हुआ है तो लोकसभा will investigate the charge, or vice versa. The president or a representative of the president has the right to appear before that investigation committee. तो इसके लिए कोड याद रख लीजिएगा. चार्ज के लिए C, 14, 1/4, 2/3. ये याद रखेंगे तो आपको अगर प्रोसेस को अगर डिस्क्राइब करने के लिए बोलते हैं तो आपको आसानी होगी. I have put it there in the notes also. Now let's move to the powers of the president. The first power is executive powers. You have executive powers, you have legislative powers, you have financial powers, you have judicial powers, you have discretionary powers, and finally you have emergency powers. What are executive powers? Executive मतलब administrative powers. उसमें इसके लिए भी मैंने एक कोड लिखा है सुबह. ओके, इसीलिए जो जहां पे वो रेड में लिखा है उसको ध्यान दीजिए. He controls state governments by president's rule, because president's rule is imposed, वो हम emergency powers में पढ़ेंगे. Okay, so control over state governments and president's rule. Administration of union territories, कैसे? Union territories में एक lieutenant governor होता है, who is seen as the president's nominee in the particular union territory. जैसे हुआ Delhi is a union territory, तो there is a lieutenant governor. Puducherry is a union territory, so wahan pe there is a lieutenant governor. Similarly, border areas, also administration of the union territories and the border areas comes under the President of India. Then appointment of prime minister, governors, ambassadors, etc. is done by the president in the name of the president. Essentially, he is the head of the administration. Orders are issued in the president's name. So S, U, S for state, U for union, B for border, A for appointment, H for head. सुबह, सुबह मीन्स मॉर्निंग. याद रखिए, सुबह याद रखिए, तो आपको अगर एग्जीक्यूटिव पास पूछे जाए तो आपको लिखने में आसानी होगी. इट जस्ट ए वे ऑफ इजी काइंड ऑफ रिकॉल वैल्यू. इट जस्ट मेक्स इट इजियर. इतना प्रेशर नहीं होता. यू रिमेंबर सुबह, स्टेट, यूनियन टेरिटरीज, बॉर्डर एरियाज, अपॉइंटमेंट्स एंड हेड ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. And all the union ministers are individually responsible to the president. Let's now move to the legislative powers. ये थोड़े ज्यादा हैं, and these are important. Generally executive powers, ये powers of president तो आता ही है. Okay, power to summon and prorogue parliament. Summon, that is monsoon session कब से शुरू होगा, winter session कब से शुरू होगा, कब prorogue होगा, all that power is in the hands of the president. Okay, he or she addresses both houses of parliament. ये होता है लोकसभा इलेक्शन के बाद पहला सेशन, and every budget session there is a presidential address which is given, which is of course prepared by the cabinet, but the president addresses parliament. The president nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha, right, who have domain expertise. They could be from like for instance P.T. Usha from the world of sports, Ilayaraja from the world of music, Vijendra Prasad from the world of entertainment, right? So different people who would have expertise, they would be nominated to the Rajya Sabha. ऐसे 12 लोग होंगे, because Rajya Sabha strength is how much? 238 plus 12 nominated members. Then he gives assent to bills. That is only when the bill is passed in parliament and it comes to Rashtrapati Bhavan for his signature or her signature, only then it becomes the law of the land. Okay. And the president of course can send a bill back to parliament for reconsideration unless it is a money bill or a constitutional amendment bill. Then the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha and order fresh elections, that power is also vested in the president, and he can promulgate ordinance under article 123. Very important legislative power. अब आते हैं ordinance के ऊपर. Ordinance की बात की तो what is ordinance? Let me explain it to you. Now an ordinance is a temporary, again an important question from the examination point of view. An ordinance is a temporary order issued by the president on request of the Council of Ministers. Definition, please remember. It is issued when both houses or either house of parliament is not in session. Especially अगर लोकसभा session में होगा तो ordinance issue होता है normally. Either house is not in session, or only if Rajya Sabha is this thing, Lok Sabha is not there, they prefer to issue an ordinance. Ordinance should be laid before parliament when it reconvenes. यानी कि ordinance issue किया, उसके बाद monsoon session शुरू हुआ, तो जब monsoon session शुरू हुआ तो ordinance को you will have to lay in parliament, and parliament has to debate and pass it within 6 weeks. 6 हफ्ते का time है for parliament to discuss and pass the ordinance, otherwise ordinance will lapse. ऑर्डिनेंस क्या है? ऑर्डिनेंस का मतलब यह है कि पार्लियामेंट सेशन में नहीं है, लेकिन आपको एक इंपॉर्टेंट कानून लाना है. अभी पार्लियामेंट सेशन में नहीं है तो कानून कैसे लाएंगे? बिकॉज लॉ मेकिंग बॉडी तो पार्लियामेंट है, राइट? सो दिस इज लाइक ए टेम्पररी मेथड. टेम्पररी आपको कानून लाना है तो प्रेसिडेंट की तरफ से आप ऑर्डिनेंस इश्यू कराएंगे और फिर पार्लियामेंट से आप उसको पास कराएंगे. दैट इज यू विल गेट इट पास्ड बाय पार्लियामेंट आफ्टर इट रिकन्वीन्स विद इन ए पीरियड ऑफ 6 weeks. Okay, understood so far? Now, okay, let me explain a little more about this. Now, so what it means, I will ask you the question, maximum life of an ordinance कितना हो सकता है? Maximum life 6 weeks तो हुआ कि that has to be passed within 6 weeks of it reconvening. What is the in parliament chapter we had read, what is the maximum period between two sessions of parliament? 6 months. So the maximum life of an ordinance can be 6 months plus 6 weeks, that is 7.5 months. Understood? Should I explain it again? between the budget session and the monsoon session by chance delay ho gaya, the maximum gap can be 6 months, right? And then you have 6 weeks. So the maximum life of an ordinance can be 6 months plus 6 weeks, 7.5 months. Understood? Okay. And an ordinance till such time that it has not been approved by Parliament will have the same effect as an act of Parliament, and it enables the government to take immediate legislative action, and it can be issued only on those subjects where Parliament can make laws. Okay, so a constitutional amendment bill cannot come through the ordinance route. Okay, those kind of things cannot happen. And whenever a bill to replace an ordinance is introduced in the House, a statement has to be produced as to kis wajah se ordinance ko lana pada. It can be challenged in the court if there is evidence that immediate action was not required. Agar aisa lage, aisa pratit ho, aisa lage ki there is no immediate reason ordinance issue karne ki kya zarurat thi. I mean, what was the heavens would not have fallen if they had waited for Parliament to reconvene. Agar if the petitioner can prove that, then court can take cognizance of something like that. During COVID, 11 ordinances were issued by the president, most of them relating to health and banking matters, because at that time there was a delay in the convening of Parliament and it was virtual Parliament and stuff like that, right? I mean, they were talking about virtual Parliament and stuff like that. Okay, so that is as far as the ordinance is concerned. Now let's come to the financial pass. Money bills in Lok Sabha can be moved only on the recommendation of the President of India. Important, very important. Note this. The finance minister, before he or she goes to Parliament, Lok Sabha, to present the budget, meets the President in Rashtrapati Bhavan. Okay, so the finance minister on behalf of the President places the annual budget before Parliament. The President can authorize withdrawal from the contingency fund to meet unforeseen expenditure ki kahin sudden zarurat pad jaye. So he can withdraw. He or she can authorize Parliament to withdraw it. Okay, the executive to withdraw it, and President appoints a 5-member finance commission every 5 years, which makes recommendation on financial matters. Let's now move to the judicial powers. No criminal case against the president. This is important when he or she is in office. So till the 5 years that the president is in office, you cannot file a case against him. There cannot be any FIR against the president in any kind of case. The president is not answerable to any court of law till such time that he or she is president. Uske baad ho sakta hai, lekin till such time that he or she is in president. So the only way to have action against the president is through impeachment. You cannot file an FIR or any other case in any court of law against the President of India while he or she is in office, is in Rashtrapati Bhavan. They have the powers to grant pardon. Ki mercy petition aate hain, somebody has been sentenced to death, so they appeal to the president, and the president may, with the advice of the Council of Ministers, mainly the Home Ministry, decides whether this mercy petition should be accepted or not. Then there are the discretionary powers, which are very important. And let me explain this to you, giving you a historical perspective. The appointment of the Prime Minister in case of death or no clear majority. 1984, 31st of October. Okay. I was in class 10, incidentally. Indira Gandhi was assassinated. Okay. Indira Gandhi was assassinated. It became, it was very difficult to kind of, appoint. So Zail Singh used his discretionary powers to ask Rajiv Gandhi to become the Prime Minister, to take oath of office as the Prime Minister. And subsequently, of course, the Congress Parliamentary Party also decided in his favor. So there was a sense of this thing that, okay, I could ask him, even though Rajiv Gandhi was not a member of the Council of Ministers at that time. Or if there is a case, a Lok Sabha election hota hai, and there is no clear majority to any party, then the president can use his discretion to say that, okay, let me ask these 2-3 parties to come together and explore the possibility of forming a government together. Because if you have to conduct another Lok Sabha election, it's a very expensive kind of affair. This happened in the late 90s, right? When K.R. Narayanan was the president of India, when he invited Atal Bihari Vajpayee to see whether he can kind of explore the possibility of becoming the president of India. Okay. They need not follow the advice of the Prime Minister, who has lost majority in the Lok Sabha. I'm just wondering whether it was not K.R. Narayanan or was it Shankar Dayal Sharma? I'm getting a little confused. It was in the late 90s, 96. If the Prime Minister has lost majority in the Lok Sabha, then the President is not, otherwise he has to listen to the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. लेकिन अगर उनको लगता है कि Prime Minister does not have the majority in the Lok Sabha, then the President can reject the advice of the Prime Minister. Okay, अगर I am the Prime Minister, I have lost the majority in the Lok Sabha और मैं बोलता हूं President को dissolve कर दो, I can say that no, I will not dissolve. Let me check with other parties whether they are in a position to form the government, come together and form the government. So he can reject the advice of the Prime Minister who has lost the majority. If he has not, then obviously he has to listen to the Prime Minister. He can delay assent to bills. That is another thing which, and I've put in a short note for those who may be interested. There are always some students who are interested in knowing more. तो उनके लिए एक pocket veto के बारे में मैंने एक छोटा सा note लिखा है, पढ़ लीजिए. It's quite interesting. Okay, this happened way back in the late 80s. Then finally, we come to the emergency powers. Now, emergency is a sudden or unforeseen situation demanding immediate action. That's the definition of emergency. Emergency ward क्यों होता है? It's like a sudden situation, unforeseen situation, and it demands immediate action, right? Immediate medical action. Emergency ward में admit किया क्यों बोलते हैं? Same thing, right? So the country में कोई emergency होगा क्या मतलब है? There has been a sudden or an unforeseen, unfortunate kind of situation. So in this, the head of the state, that is the president, he or she assumes extraordinary powers. Okay. And there are three kinds of emergencies: national emergency, state emergency, financial emergency. And they are imposed under three different articles of the constitution. उसके बारे में भी आपको मालूम होना चाहिए. Let's पहले national emergency के बारे में देखते हैं. That can be imposed in case of foreign aggression. अगर कोई दूसरी कंट्री ने अटैक कर दिया इंडिया पे, then you can impose national emergency. There are many small countries like Sri Lanka, etc., which have imposed emergency in the recent past. Foreign aggression. Then if there is a danger to peace in the country due to civil war, अगर major civil war हो गया, वैसे 1975 is when emergency was imposed because Indira Gandhi felt that situation was going out of hand, which is for which Congress is even today criticized badly, right? Emergency was imposed, but emergency is part of that's a power which has been given to the president. Of course, president also means the Council of Ministers. So danger to peace in the country, this is imposed under Article 352, national emergency, and president can declare emergency. And this is important. This was an amendment to the Constitution in 1979. He can declare emergency. The president can declare emergency only when the cabinet gives it in writing. Cabinet has to give it in writing कि election इसको impose करो, तभी you can this thing, because this was in 1975 the then President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad, he just imposed the emergency. The cabinet was not even consulted. The Council of Ministers was not even consulted. That's the allegation, which is why उसके बाद एक amendment लाया गया that only when cabinet says it in writing that impose emergency, only then emergency can be imposed. It must be ratified by parliament within 1 month. Ratified matlab the parliament anumati deni chahiye ki okay, emergency is okay. That's only when it can continue. It can be in force for 6 months after ratification. Parliament ke ratification hone ke baad 6 mahine tak emergency can continue, and it can also be extended after that. During emergency, parliament can make laws on even state subjects, education, law and order of a particular state, everything. Parliament can make laws, and governors act on the directions of the president. It will not chief ministers, it will be the governors who will be controlling a particular state. Okay, the tenure of Lok Sabha can be extended by 1 year at a time. There is suspension of fundamental rights, and fresh elections must take place within 6 months after the removal of emergency. Jैसे 1975 में emergency imposed हुई, 77 में elections किए गए after Indira Gandhi revoked the emergency. Okay, there is the financial division between the center and the state can be altered, and central executive assumes dictatorial powers. It almost becomes like a dictatorship emergency, which is why emergency is almost considered like a bad word. State emergency में क्या होता है? State emergency is also called president's rule, and this is under Article 356, and the duration is for 2 months. Okay, and if it is to continue beyond 2 months, it has to be ratified by parliament. Okay, and it can be imposed from 6 months to up to 3 years. After 3 years, then you need a constitutional amendment. Okay, so 2 महीने, 6 महीने, 3 साल तक चल सकता है. Then we come to financial emergency. This is under Article 360 when there is a setback to the financial stability of India. There are small countries which usually have financial emergency. It has to be approved by Parliament within 2 months. Salaries of different people can be reduced. It has never been, thank God, never been imposed in India. Okay, so those are the things. President can appoint a finance commission to suggest ways to get out of the financial emergency, which can be pretty bad. Then we come to the vice president. Now, vice president is the number 2 constitutional post in the country. Okay, the qualifications are pretty much the same. 35 years of age, qualified for election to Rajya Sabha. That's the difference. That is Lok Sabha president. This is Rajya Sabha. Why Rajya Sabha? Because the vice president is also the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. So he or she chairs the Rajya Sabha. So that's why it is Rajya Sabha. This difference को ध्यान में रखिए. The electoral college किसको include करता है? MPs of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. इसमें MLAs नहीं आते हैं. लेकिन the big difference is that it includes the nominated MPs also. So when the vice presidential election will happens, the nominated MPs can also vote for the election, because nominated MPs are where? They are in Rajya Sabha. So the vice president will be chairing the Rajya Sabha. So it's only but natural that nominated MPs also get a chance to vote in the election. The term of office is 5 years. इस बात का ध्यान रहे. Rajya Sabha MP का term of office is tenure is 6 years. But vice president, who is the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, his or her tenure is 5 years. इस बात का ध्यान रहे. Finally, we come to the powers of the vice president. If he is to resign, he has to give his resignation to the president. Okay, and he can also be impeached like the president. He's the ex officio. Ex officio matlab by one's position. The vice president automatically becomes a chairperson. He's not a member of the Rajya Sabha. He's not elected by the members of the Rajya Sabha. He's not elected to the position of the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, but he's elected as the vice president, right? So the vice president is the ex officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. He regulates the proceedings of the upper house, and he takes over as president in case the president dies in office, like it happened in the case of Zakir Hussain and Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad. Very interesting. I have put a couple of who officiates as president in case the vice president is also not there, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Okay. Now, I've put a particular anecdote which you would find very interesting, that in May 1969, Zakir Hussain died when he was president of India. The then vice president was V.V. Giri. He became the acting president. Then in July 1969, क्योंकि presidential election कराने थे, so V.V. Giri became the presidential candidate. So he resigned as vice president. So then at that time, the Chief Justice of India, M. Hidayatullah, became the president of India from 20th July to 24th August 1969. Okay, interesting. Now M. Hidayatullah is very interesting character, because after his retirement, he was elected as vice president in 1979. 10 saal baad. He became the vice president. And when then President Gyani Zail Singh had to go to the US for medical treatment in 1982, Hidayatullah officiated as the acting president. So he has been the only person who has been acting president, vice president, and Chief Justice of India. Okay, it's just an interesting anecdote. Is pe questions nahi aayenge. Don't worry. Okay, so with this we come to the end of the president and the vice president chapter. I hope it is clear. Please go through the video. Please go through the notes, and thereafter later on we will do question and answers also. So that should make it very clear. Thank you very much for watching.